3, 2, 1, go. Okay, everyone, what I've been wanting to do is explain why I think Cure is a really good Terran to copy on the ladder and a really good Terran to watch and one of the most interesting Terrans. Right, people always talk about Maru, innovation, and TY does also innovate, while innovation generally does standard play, and Maru somewhere in between with just amazing play. But Cure is always like a second tier GSL Korean Terran. But what he does is he makes really fun builds to play and really strong builds for the ladder. So I'm a Masters 3 Terran, and I know I mostly struggle against Protoss. Just in scouting and then later with all the micro you have to do against Storm, Disruptors, Colossus, all that stuff. But this build is really interesting because it's just a standard. This is a standard proxy, like normal time proxy racks. He's not cutting the depot and doing it at 13. He's doing double gas at home after the racks, and you'll see what he does first. It's all standard. People have been doing this for a while. So if you watched Clem's versus Showtime's best of 9 or whatever on this Alpha X channel, you'll see that Clem does this, but Clem does Reaper and then one Hellion and rallies it to the bunker. Special does that. I've seen TY do it. Maru, we've seen in the Kings of Battle tournament, generally just did one Reaper, went home and built Cyclones out of his factory. What Cure's going to do, I'm not going to spoil it, he's obviously going to build his factory around 100 gas, and he pulls one off gas each. So it's 2-2 on gas. So it's not a 2-1 situation. He's building his bunker, basically scouting around a little bit, making sure there's no probe that's going to kill him. But even if there's a probe here that's coming after you, build the bunker, run away, wait for the Reaper, and then build the bunker and go back to building the bunker. Patience is doing the correct thing. Unfortunately for him, he didn't have this probe down here right away, so he's going to just realize, okay, this is too far gone. The Reaper could be coming, or Marines are coming, right? A Marine would be out by 150. And even earlier if it's an earlier proxy racks. So he's just going to throw a pylon down, and then when that pylon comes, the shield battery, which basically stops the push, is going to go down. So if the Protoss forgets his shield battery in your game, you can win with just one bunker because you can kill this. So unfortunately he didn't have the probe. If you have the probe down here, you just harass this, force it off, and delay it until, again, this is the correct thing to do. Get a Zealot out and bring the Zealot down to harass the SCV and harass the bunker, and then you chrono out 2 more Stalkers, maybe even 3 more Stalkers, until the push is over. So we got a factory going down. The Reaper is just finishing, and now normally you would see a second Reaper, or this would fly home. What Cure's doing, which I think is really cool, is doing Marines. Now the Reaper, what you want to do with the Reaper and what Cure is going to do with the Reaper, especially if this SCV isn't getting harassed. Number one, you want to defend your SCV, get your bunker up, because if the bunker doesn't go up, the whole point of making Marines it doesn't work, and then your Marines can get kited home from the Stalkers, and you just lose everything, and you might lose the game. So defending the bunker with the Reaper, and then you send the Reaper into the main. Yeah, he's 2-2 on gas, doing a factory, who cares? You send the Reaper into the main to annoy the Zealot, which is out by now. The Zealot's out around the same time as the Reaper, and all the Protoss is going to do is just click on your Reaper with the Zealot to make you micro, and you want to either go straight for the Zealot and do a bunch of damage, or try and kill this probe so he can't get a shield battery down. I think going for the probe is better, but obviously it's more micro intensive, because if you're just doing an A move stutter step type thing, the priority is the Zealot, so you have to actually click on the probe. And the reason the Marines are so good is you can kill this pylon. with Marines, if you're rallying Marines. And at home, he's doing reactored factory. He's going to get 2 Hellions. And I think the reason he's doing this is because this isn't going so well for him. The reason he's going for the reactor is what Cure does when he does this early aggression type stuff. If something's not going to plan or not going how he thinks it should go and how much damage he thinks this early aggression should do, he doubles down and goes even more aggressive because he's already behind economically. So we'll see that in TvT. I don't think I'll do TvT in this episode, but we'll see that in another game of his PvT where he does this same build. So the whole point of these Marines is, yes, you can kill the Zealot, but the real point is to kill this Pylon, because if the Protoss messes up and only builds the shield battery and not a second Pylon down here, then you can kill the Nexus just by killing the Pylon. Or if they build the shield battery over here, you can just kill the shield battery and then kill the Pylon, and then you're way ahead. So that's why I love these Marines. You're rallying 4 Marines. You're doing some fancy micro here with the bunker and so on. And what you want to do is around 3 minutes, send in your Reaper. Not now, he's just saving his Reaper. But around 3 minutes, 3:10, 3:15, 3:30 at the latest, you send your Reaper in to die to get the scout off on the tech they're doing. A Robo Tech is going to be fine. Twilight Council Tech is going to be fine. You could be worried about DTs, but it's unlikely because you're doing early game harass and DTs are kind of risky. So he goes in around 3 minutes, 3:20, and sees the Twilight, and he's making 2 Hellions at home. These 2 Hellions are really just safety Hellions to maybe come up and protect these Marines walking home from stalker kiting. Another thing that I suggest, especially with this build, is do this build on maps with bushes throughout the center or smaller maps like Submarine. So these bushes in the center allow Cure to do this, because if he's getting kited by the stalkers, he can just sit here and 4 Marines will trade effectively against 1 or 2 stalkers, because you'll kill one of the stalkers, right? Because if you just keep walking home, they're all going to die. You may as well trade for something, and especially with 2 Hellions that are already done, could come up and deal with 2 stalkers. So 4 Marines and 2 Hellions should be able to kill 2 stalkers. So that's good. And then after that, he's back on 3-on-3 on gas after the factory's basically down and done. It looks like he's still 2-2 on gas, so maybe he's microing. But after you put the CC down, you go back to 3-3 on gas. You're going to do a starport. The starport SCV is going to build the armory. And with your reactored factory, you're doubling down on this aggression and getting 8 Widow Mines. So let's see these 8 Widow Mines. We'll just zoom, zoom, zoom. So these guys are just to protect those Marines coming home. So if you don't need to protect them, you don't need to protect them. You don't need to show the Hellions. A scary thing, I guess, for this build would be a Stargate opener, or obviously a 1-base opener. But we're going to stick with talking about 2-base openers. And that's what these Widow Mines are for. If he's doing if you go in with your Reaper and you see the Stargate, just get a Marine in each, or sorry, a Widow Mine in each mineral line, and you'll be fine against Oracles. So this guy's going back. He's going to build 2 tech labs. One tech lab's going to be for Raven. The other one's going to be for Siege Tank. Then he's going to jump on this reactor. So he's going to go out with 4 cloaked Widow Mines with his medevac. And again, I think he did this because the early game Reaper didn't do enough, or didn't do what he thought it should. The Reaper wasn't able to kill a bunch of probes. 3-4 probes would be what I think that he would think is the correct, like a good trade. And he also didn't kill the Pylon, so he's thinking he's behind, which, I mean, fair enough, he is behind in workers. But he gets lucky with that shot there, which is all why, people do Widow Mines. Generally, you're going to get lucky. And then what I like is he didn't run in the Hellions, because 2 Hellions can't overpower a shield battery, and he saw with the Widow Mines there's stalkers here and stalkers over there. So what he's going to do is turn those into Hellbats and come here where there's no shield battery. I really like this. Triple harass, really good. And then at home, like I said, the barracks made two tech labs and then switched to the reactor. So that's the same barracks you floated home. And now you're making a Raven and a tank, getting double gas at home, and you're going to get a third CC. So, like I said before, he's doubling down on things. So now he knows, okay, I've killed a bunch of probes, let's double down on my eco. So he's doing a third rack, or third CC, instead of the 2 racks. And again, he's throwing in the Hellbats, who cares? He's going to get, what, 1 or 2 kills, doesn't matter. All he knows is there wasn't a third, and now there is a third. So the third time is about 6 minutes, which is pretty good. It could be 3 minutes faster. Could be generally, I mean, most people at my level take it around 4 minutes, 4:30. So it's still 2 minutes slower than normal. And because of this third, he's not really expecting patients to push out. And the constant harass he was doing was also to protect that. Now the only thing he's scared of is he sees a bunch of blink stalkers. So he's scared of blink stalkers coming into his base. So he's set up here. He has a bunker here. And his second tank, or if that's his third tank, will get set up down there. And then when this is done, its orbital, he's going to float it over. He's then focusing on getting up his 5 racks first, and then he's going to go into double eBay, which I think are going to be building right here in just half a second. But getting up those 5 racks is super important because he did so many Widow Mines, his army is delayed. He still has a good army size, but that's probably because Patience is going to be after chronoing workers out. Patience, other than being unlucky here, Patience actually had a really good defense because his guys clumped up in this sort of area. This is SimCity stuff. So if it wasn't for that, it would be a much more even game. I mean, it is an even game, but Cure would be behind if it wasn't for that luck. So Patience did well. He didn't play wrong. He did a good defense of the double, like 8 Widowmine drop with Cloak. He did a good job, and he's getting Colossus out because he wants to be safe, and it's also his style. He likes the Colossus. Cure probably knows this, so he's going to go for the tank heavy style with Marauders. And then, like I said, the 1-1 is after he gets up the 5 racks, going for the double upgrades, being extra greedy, because he's also getting his third base, so it's not like there's a need to just go an earlier +1 2 base attack. If you're going for 3 bases, you should be going for 1-1. This guy is just waiting for his main army to push out. It's just to force a warp in at home. That's all it's for. And to scout. So he sees the Darkshine, which means his Raven is even more important. He scouts the third. I don't know if you saw that when he went in, because army movement, I really enjoy watching the Korean army movement. So he scouts the main third area where he thinks the army is going to be. He doesn't see anything, and so he sieges up. These guys are sieged when he doesn't see anything, because he assumes the army is coming to him. Because he also knows in the main there's no army there. So he sieges a couple tanks just to be safe. And then, of course, he sees them coming in with his flying units. So he's going to siege. No, maybe, he thinks he can fight that. Interesting. And then he's going to push forward and siege a bit. And he's going to get a really good position here. So ooh, that's nice. Get the sentry. So by 10 minutes, he's pushed. Now, this is what's going to kill you. This is what I've done this build a couple times, and this is what's killed me because I'm an idiot. And one thing I recommend is doing what Thermal recommends in a lot of his TvP coaching type videos, is rally to a missile turret. Build a missile turret right here and rally to it, and this would just walk into its death. Right, and before this, I think you can see there's a missile turret here, a missile turret here. This happened around 7:30. So before he even moved out, when he was taking his third, he started putting missile turrets down for that inevitable DT Zealot run by stuff that Protoss love to do. So he pushed out with his 1-1, and now he's pushing out with a second army. And he's not even trying to kill here because he hasn't reinforced this army. So if you're not reinforcing, there's no need to push the issue. Here now he's reinforcing down here. He's trying to kill this. As soon as he sees this army down here, he's going to micro a bit, try and save the army. As soon as he's like, okay, that's safe. Now we're just going to charge in here. Raven, super important. And he's like, okay, well, now you're coming back. So he's going to double prong. This is just, high level, being able to control 2 armies, win the game. So again, what I think is really cool is those Marines early game taking control of the pace of the game. So doing the proxy, normally what we've seen is the two Reaper, 1 Hellion, the 2 Reaper, 1 Hellion follow-up, or the 1 Reaper into Cyclone follow-up that Morrow did in Kings of Battle. But here what we're seeing Cure do is doing, again, he's going to be doing the Marines. And this time on a shorter map, so it's still possible on a shorter map even without grasses. On a shorter map, he's not going to do as many Widow Mines. I think it's also one reason he doesn't do as many Widow Mines, so I'll talk about it, is he does damage with this Reaper. And so he doesn't see a third, and he knows he did damage, so he's worried about an all-in. So I think that's how you do a variation of this. So again, the most important thing, just save the SCV, wait till your Reaper comes, then finish building it. So here he gets 1, 2, 3, 4. Is he going to get a 5th? I don't remember. Yeah, he gets a 5th. 5 probes, 6, almost 6. 5 probes before the Stalker's out. So that's what happens when you're a Protoss and you don't make that Zealot. Right, and you scout late with this pylon. So going Stalker first gives you 5 probe kills, and now Cure's thinking, okay, that's great damage. Still going to rally rally Marines, but he's going to get a quick Hellion because he did all that extra damage. Waiting for that reactor could either kill him, or this Hellion is going to give him great scouting with the Reaper. Right, the Reaper can go in and fly around, and then the Hellion can come in 30 seconds later and see what the Reaper missed. So getting that early Hellion, and he gets this Stalker, which is just amazing. Getting the early Hellion before the reactor is all about scouting, whether he has to defend an all-in. He's getting a CC on a high ground. Again, last time he didn't get a CC on a high ground, I think again it's because he did so well. He's worried about getting all-in. So there he sees Warp Gate and Twilight Council, and Warp Gate's almost done. I think there was even Chrono on the Warp Gate. Yeah, he sees Chrono on the Warp Gate, and if you see Chrono on the Warp Gate, you're likely getting, there's going to be a gateway follow-up, because otherwise why not Chrono workers or Chrono units, right? So he goes in, like I said, with the Hellion, he goes in again and sees another gate. So he's thinking that there's going to be a Blink Stalker follow-up. So he did 2 Widow Mines only. Again, basically he just wants to quick scout. So these are just a scout. These don't matter if they do damage. He just wants to scout and be annoying and keep those Stalkers at home until he switches and gets this early tank, early Raven, and goes into the stim. Now this stim happened because he built a barracks at home. This wasn't his flying home barracks. His flying home barracks is now on that reactor. And he's built a stim from a second barracks that he made quickly because he had all those extra minerals of not making these 8 Widow Mines. So if your early harass with the bunker and the Reaper goes well, do less harass with the Widow Mines. And also it depends on the scout that you get from your Hellion, or double Hellions, or the scout of this Widow Mine job, right? He sees a bunch of gates. He saw a bunch of gates when he flew over the first time. He's going to see it again. He's going to see 4 gates on 2 base. Right, 4 gates on 2 base. There's a Blink Stalker basically all in. So you're going to want units up here. Yep, he's got units up here. Do not underestimate the auto turret. It is so strong. Units up here. His second tank is here. His first one is down here. And he's repelled that really well. If he wasn't in position, that could have sniped Stim. And if that got Stim, this is a whole new ball game. Pulling some boys just for a barrier. And then here it's basically going to be the same follow-up. Again, he didn't go for that early CC. He went for those 2 other racks because he did so well and because he scouted these extra gates with his Widowmine drop and that Hellion. And so because of that, he went for the quick 3 racks and now he's going for a later 3rd CC. But it's basically on time with Creator's Nexus, and as a Terran, that's always fine. If your 3rd CC is on time with theirs building, you're fine. Goes in, sees 6 gates now. I don't know if he's seen the gases at the natural, but he should have. So he knows he can pressure this 3rd base. Yeah, and now he sees Templar Archives, so he's probably going to throw him down a Ghost Academy right when you see the Templar Archives. So there's no tech for Colossus, so there's no need to make Vikings. You could make Liberators, but that's pretty mineral and ghost heavy unit against Templar and Archons, so you'd really want to just go straight for the ghosts. His 1/1's done. And here we go. That's the way he comes into the game. Doesn't really get anything, so he's not coming back into this game. So again, I just want to point out how really cool those early Marines are. Right? It's a new build, in my opinion. We've seen the proxy racks, Reaper, Hellion stuff, or Cyclone stuff. We've seen all that. In these series, he also he likes the proxy medevac Hellion build. But he doesn't like the 2 racks opener that TY did against Neeb that got him killed on this map. I think he always wants to go for a quick factory because of how common Void Rays are. The Void Ray all-in is. So going for that quick factory is always what he wants to do. Anyways, yeah, I hope you like this. If you want more of a build analysis on this, like leave me a comment or something and I can go through more directly what he did with these builds. Other than that, I mean, I hope you liked it. I'm going to do a Cure TvT one, which is not really going to focus on builds necessarily, but more army movement and being able to come back. Okay, cool.